Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining our show and tell. Again, last time at show and tell, I was on holiday, and I met some bears in Berlin, two Irish bears on the. I was actually slightly offended by the stereotype that you see before you, but at the same time, it was also quite entertaining. Last time I talked about just a lot of stuff. I was genuinely impressed when I came back and watched the last show and tell back. So we discussed the tenancy information API, testing our APIs in production, obfuscating data, the resident information platform API, the single view integration work that had been done, the usage model that we had devised, and the authorization model that's currently being worked on. And I say cheers to that. As you can imagine, I was in Germany, there was a lot of beer. I was not thinking of any of them. But well done to the team for just so much work having been done over the last month. So what's new? I'll hand over to Ben to tell you the latest on the Resident Information Platform API.
Thank you very much, Darren. I am really happy to say that we've really made progress with the Resident Information API. So at the point of the last show and tell, we had the view endpoints, so that allowed us to view a single record. We now have a completed list endpoint. What that means is that we are making a call to all of the theoretical APIs for Academy, Universal Housing, and Mosaic, and we're able to return a whole list of information based on the search parameter that's sent through, so postcode or first name, last name, address, and it will return a list of results which say this came from Mosaic, here's how you could get directly to this piece of information, and allows us to, and that is now ready to be, that's getting to the point where it's very nearly ready to go into production and actually be used in single view. Still a few things to do, so we've still got to add specific search parameters and do the full end-to-end testing, but it is very exciting to be getting to a point where it is really very nearly the overall everything is kind of coming together and in a position to go into production very soon.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of a celebration this morning at Stand Up on this, Ben, didn't we? Because this is a really big deal. This is what we've been working towards for the last few months. So well done to everybody involved who's worked on this API. It's a real achievement for the team. So thank you very much. Round of applause. Bucky, on contact details, please.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Yeah, morning. So with the Resident Contact API, it's going to make it easier to access resident contact information from one point. So with this, currently, I think we use NCC CRM. Once we have this up, well, it's up and it's functioning, you'll be able to access all resident information from one API. So with the API, you can list information in regards to a resident's contact information, such as the phone number, email address, or an address. This will come from different data sources. So we'll be able to get contact information from Academy, a Mosaic, and once a user accesses the endpoint, you can get a list of contact information, or you can request contact information using an ID. So the endpoint, like I said, has two different, the API has two different endpoints, a list endpoint and a view endpoint. And yeah, it should be a source of accessing resident contact information. Thank you.
Thanks, Bucky. Marella, please.
Thank you, Darren, and hello, everyone. As you know from our previous show and tells, we have been looking into ways to improve our current security setup for our APIs, We currently use API keys, but we wanted to change that and start using Lambda authorizers because we wanted to be able to provide more granular access control over our APIs. So here's an update on that. We have completed our first API endpoint, which is essentially an API authorization token generator. It takes a user request. The request would involve information such as who requested the token, what service is the token for, and which API endpoint should it give access to, who authorized the token, the token access, and if the token has an expiry date or not. Based on this information, we essentially generate a JWT token, and we insert the token-related data into a database. We're doing that, as we said previously, so we could provide functionalities such as reporting. For example, we'd be able to report on how many active tokens they are currently accessing a given API's endpoint, or how many of those have been revoked. Speaking of revoking them, having the data in a database would allow us to immediately revoke any tokens if we had the need for that. So that's been completed, and what's currently in progress is our second endpoint, which is essentially a verify authorization token endpoint. What we're going to use that for is essentially as our Lambda authorizer, which is that extra layer of security. When a user makes a request towards our API, it will first hit the Lambda authorizer, where we're going to take the JWT token they're supplying as part of the request. We're going to verify that it's actually a valid JWT. We're going to look at the payload data and query our database to see whether this consumer should have access to the API endpoint they're intending to access and if their token is valid. And based on the results of this logic, we're basically either going to allow the request to flow through and hit the actual Hackney API, or deny the request and return a 401 unauthorized. Thank you very much. I pass over to Louise.
Thank you. Okay, the Tenancy Information API pulls data from UH via its cloud-based mirror database that is continually updated with any changes from UH. And this API is now able to produce information about a specific resident. Also, as more of the APIs have been released to production and tested, we've been able to begin integrating them with existing platforms like the very popular Single View. We've started by integrating the Academy API with Single View to provide the data needed when someone searches for customers that match a given name or address, or when someone needs the information for a specific customer. Also, the Housing API, which also pulls data from UH. We've had a few interesting challenges to tackle here due to the structure of that data in the database, but thanks to the magic of teamwork, we've been able to make some really good progress and are now testing this API in production too.
Thanks, Louise. People are genuinely interested in what's going on, and Rashmi has a nice little story to tell.
Thank you, Darren. After a successful presentation on our work on 24th of July to AWS team, they were very curious about what we are doing with regards to our platform APIs, how we are integrating with a single view. And I'll be very honest, the AWS team was fascinated, impressed, and curious about our approach and implementation, the different techniques, what we have done, the definition, what we have come up, how do we validate things. So they were genuinely very, very fascinated. So with regards to it, so after they asked all the queries, how did we approach this particular problem? How did we think about it? They said, well, quote, that they want us to showcase our work on a national level or even a global audience to other global audience. And this all will also, they also wanted us to present our work on a roundtable conference for other public sector organizations to look at as an example. Well done, team. And I'm really, really proud to say that and the team was really excited, all of us, when they heard this dialogue. And there was a lot of chat going on. People were really motivated. And it's a huge validation about our work, to be honest. And yeah, it gives me immense pleasure to announce this. Thank you.
Round of applause.
Well done, team. Well done, team. Really, it's a teamwork. So yeah, so with regards to our updated roadmap, we had few things. I mean, I'll be very honest, we are much ahead about our work, what we had initially planned, to be honest, and with regards to the focus for this month, we have few things. As Ben mentioned, we're almost ready with the housing, with the with the resident information API, the overall top level, and possibly we'll be testing in production soon. So what we have agreed that we'll be defining a criteria list definition for all the production testing for APIs, so which makes sense to have it, and it becomes a part of a acceptance criteria. Also, we also have integration of single view with our vulnerability API. And possibly we'll be looking for the post endpoint where updating any contact details, which normally MCC and manager tenancy also works on. We'll be looking at that, and possibly the migration script for the MCC data, which is currently in Dynamics, and how do we bring into a Postgres database and complete the work on the user authorization. So still there, a lot of work to finish on, but yeah. And possibly for next September, we'll be looking at the address API. However, I need to finalize on the fund with the data and insight team about it. So how we are going to fund and make sure the existing team work on that. Yeah, but a lot of exciting work, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Rashmi. What questions have people got for us? Stunned silence. No questions?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa here. I've got a question about the contact API, resident contact API. What are the search parameters that you can use on that? Can you just search for John Smith and then it shows you contact details for every John Smith within those systems, or how exactly does it work?
Yeah, you can. There's 3 parameters currently. So there's first name, last name, and address. So if you were to search for John Smith, you'd get all John Smith listed across the different data sources, so from UH, Mosaic, and Academy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lisa, can I just check? Are you referring to the top level API or the API that we have done specifically for the NCC CRM system?
Either. I don't really know.
Because one is pulling out additional information from a specific system. The other one is knitting, not so much knitting it all together, but pulling out it's the top level one that Ben has been working on, and that then returns the results from the individual systems in a single view. So I wasn't sure what you were referring to.
Yeah, I guess either of them. I was just curious about, how people can search. But yeah, if you're pulling information from 3 different systems, is that one you said is for single view? It's just pulling from the record like you would search normally in single view then.
Well, not exactly. We have designed APIs for each of those systems which accepts first name, last name, postcode, and address. So what this top level API is going to do is take the search parameters, which we're still implementing, make calls to each of those individual APIs, and return all of that information as a collated. So eventually you will be able to search by first name, last name, postcode, and address.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, I appreciate some things have been renamed and what have you. So it is a little bit confusing even for us on the project. Any other questions from anybody, please? No. Okay. As ever, we're always very keen to chat offline. If you do have any questions, please just drop us a message on Slack or join the API discussion channel, or respond to our week notes. We're always very happy to talk, and this has been really good. Thank you very much for your time, and catch you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.